Yeah, I go. On the front steps, all getting right through. Yeah.
Hello, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Lyons Den Sports Podcast. It's my first episode since the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. We're Super Bowl champs. I mean, that was my second. The Phillies won the World Series in 2008 when I was alive. But I don't remember that. So it's pretty much the second championship I've experienced in my lifetime. It's very special to me. What a great ride to, during my senior year. It was awesome. It was a moment I'll never forget. And, they brought a second championship in 16 years. So, I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but a lot of the other teams can't really experience that level of dominance for an extended period of time. So, go Birds. But we will have to talk this episode about the most depressing team in Philadelphia, and that is, you guessed it, the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm just going to start off because it's going to be kind of a rant, but more of like my off-season plan. I think we should go full tank this season. Right now, Joel Embiid, they're debating surgery with him. Shut him down. There's no reason for him to be playing. If we make the play-in somehow with this Nick Nurse, who's a terrible coach, and with this terrible depth that we have, we're going to get destroyed by the Cavs or Celtics in the first round. For those of you who don't know, our first round pick is top 6 protected. So if we don't get a top 6 pick, that goes to the Thunder, and this season was just for nothing. Paul George isn't getting any younger. Joel Embiid isn't getting any younger. We need to shut him down and get him healthy for next season. Paul George, let him play, let him figure it out, because, this is not the guy who we signed to a $50 million a year contract, right? This looks like Tobias Harris out there with a podcast. This is, on a worse contract. Like, I saw something on Twitter, and I kind of agreed with it. The Paul George contract right now is worse than the Tobias Harris contract if he keeps playing like this. It's horrible. Look, Maxey, it may not seem like it. Like, when you watch the games, you don't really seem that. It doesn't look like he's dominating, but he is in top 5 points per game in the league. He pretty much leads the Sixers in every category. Embiid just hasn't been himself this season. Obviously, he hasn't been 100%. I don't know why we're rushing him back. Look, some people want to trade Embiid, and I think they're crazy. Like, when he's healthy, this is a top 3 player in the NBA. He is one of the most talented big men in NBA history. In my opinion, when he's healthy, he's the most talented Sixers player that I've ever watched, obviously, but maybe of all time. I don't want to go because I didn't have the pleasure to watch AI or Dr. J or any of the greats, but what was I saying? Embiid, we're not trading him because when he's healthy, he makes this team 5 times more better, and I don't care what you say. He does. So we have to build how do I say this? We have to accept that this is our franchise player, and we have to build around him. Because if we trade him, we're not going to get anything that's going to make this team better. We'll get a little bit better for the future, but we can't win a playoff series with Tyrese Maxey as our best player. He's a great player, but we just can't. So my plan for the offseason is, my ideal offseason, tank the rest of the season, right? Right now I think we are, if the season ended today and there was no draft lottery, we would have the 6th overall pick, but there is a draft lottery. So in this lottery, we could either slide out of the top 6, Thunder get our pick, and it's probably one of the worst seasons that I've ever watched because it was an empty season. No playoffs, no pick. What's the point? But if we are able to get in that top 6, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but anything could happen. Like, the Hawks, they were not in the top 4, draft lottery, but they still ended up getting the number 1 overall pick last year. And obviously, last year's draft class was one of the weakest in recent memory, but this year's draft class is extremely talented. You have Cooper Flagg at number 1, and Cooper Flagg has that talent that he can change a franchise. I don't know how that would look if the Sixers, in a miraculous world, were able to get him, but if we were able to get him, I don't know how that would look. But I would do anything to get Cooper Flag on this team because I'm also a Duke fan, but that has nothing to do with it. This is one of the most talented college players to ever play. Ace Bailey is a name that's been floating around. He's a power forward, but his playmaking ability is not good at all. He averages less than 2 assists per game on a Rutgers team. That's not doing that great. And I really don't. I would not like to see him on this team. Dylan Harper, that's somebody I would obviously want if we had a top 3 pick. I mean, he's a great guard from Rutgers, number 2 overall recruit in the class, and he's a great player. VJ Edgecombe, a very talented wing from Baylor, that would be another good pick. Like, if we can get any of VJ Edgecombe, Dylan Harper, and obviously Cooper Flag, then we have a chance to achieve greatness next season. I mean, this team isn't terrible, right? Like, Paul George, he's not who he used to be, but we could accept that. I mean, we have Tyrese Maxey, we have Joel Embiid, and if we could surround them with the depth that maximizes their ability, if we can get some good shooters, if we can get some good defenders, we keep Yabusele, we get a good backup guard, McCain's back, Justin Edwards, has another year of improvement. This team can do things next year. But Daryl Morey, Nick Nurse, and the team have to accept this is not our year. We have to tank. We have to accept the cards that we've been dealt. This is not our year. This has been a terrible year, and this team is not good. This team is not good. So if we tank, we get our draft pick, we slide into the top 6, next year anything could happen, and I don't want to get too optimistic, but I'd be excited to see our team next year. I mean, Nick Nurse, in my opinion, shouldn't be fired. I think we need a coaching change. Daryl Morey, he won't get fired because he signed an extension, but I don't really like him at all. But I'm going to accept that Daryl Morey is our GM, and I'm going to trust him this offseason that if we get a top 6 pick, that he can build a championship-level roster. So I know this episode has just been a rant to myself about the Sixers, but that's pretty much it. I mean, it's their talking point of Philadelphia, not a very good way. They're an extremely depressing team and have given us nothing but sadness for the past 18 years of my life. So that's it for this episode, guys. Thank you for watching again, and see you next week.